What's going on, Jets fans? The Jets edge room is super deep, right? We know Carl Lawson is going to be here. There were some questions. Maybe he'd be a cap casualty. And obviously, Will McDonald, with the first overall pick, added to an already deep room. And Rich Cimini, among others, have wondered, hey, will the Jets, take an area of strength, part with potentially Bryce Huff on the last year of his contract, get some draft capital, and then you can address some other part of the roster that isn't as deep into that? I would say, please, goodness, no. No, I do not care. I know everything has a price, but not Bryce Huff. He doesn't really, not for what he would go for, because you're not going to get a second round pick, right? That's why he's on the tender. And Bryce Huff, to me, I don't know if the value of Bryce Huff has resonated with the rest of the NFL as it has with Jets fans. And remember, the first month of the season when, idiots like me were saying fire Jeff Ulbrich, right? Because our defense was not good, specifically our third down defense. We could not get off the field. Is Bryce Huff inactive? Then Bryce Huff starts playing. Overnight, we go from bottom 10 to top 12 in third down efficiency when Bryce Huff is active. He is the highest pass rush win rate in the NFL of players on the edge with enough snaps to qualify. This kid, and I understand he's just a situational rusher. He can't play against the run. You don't know more than the coaches. I understand. I'm probably wrong. On Bryce Huff, but I think we're allowed one take a year where we do truly put on our GM cap and we do pretend to know more than the coaches, because let's be honest, they're not perfect. Our coaches did start last season by playing, quasi-retired Vinny Curry over Bryce Huff, the most efficient third down pass rusher in the league, wasn't even dressed. And I did sit in a seat at MetLife Stadium and watch them open a season, after a whole summer, by featuring Lawrence Cager in the offensive game plan instead of the eventual rookie of the year in Garrett Wilson. So coaches sometimes make mistakes that are rather obvious at the time they're making them. And if the Jets do view Bryce Huff as only a 3rd and 7+ player, I do think that will be a mistake. Now, this year, if that's all he does, that's fine because we're so deep, but I don't want to part with Bryce Huff because that's all we think he can do. And if eventually if Carl Lawson and JFM, those big contracts are gone and more snaps open up, I do envision an edge rotation of Huff and McDonald and Clemens and Jermaine Johnson, and that being your 4, and you're good to go there. And I think that Bryce Huff can be one of those outlier, undersized pass rushers. Hassan Reddick is the prime example where he's never going to be great against the run. He's never going to be what Jermaine or JFM is against the run at 245 pounds. But the trade-off for that, for just relentless pass rush, I think is worth it. And, you just drafted Will McDonald with a top 15 pick who's lighter than Bryce Huff, who's never going to be a great run defender. But the trade-off they decided, obviously, when they drafted him, is that the pass rush tools are worth it. I think the same can be said about Bryce Huff. I think we have a diamond in the rough here, and you got to keep him. We're in win-now mode. Bryce Huff, the snaps he plays are so important. Hope he's a Jet for a long time. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk ball soon.